Ladies and gentlemen, I now have the distinct honor to call upon Yang Berbahagia Dato Sri Dr.Vijay Eswaran, the Chairman of the University Council, to deliver his address.
Dato Sri Dr. Vijay Khas from the QI University Council, Dato Sri Veerasingham, Advisor to the University, members of the University Council, Chairman of QNet, Mr. Richard Zinkovich, Group Managing Director of QI Group, Mr. Kuna Sinadiraja, members, staff, and faculty of QIU, parents, and graduating students. Good afternoon. Today is the day that we have to take a moment to perhaps pause and draw breath, to recognize that life is indeed a very precious thing. As we have just acknowledged, we lost another bright, shining star today in terms of a student. And we should take heed. Life is indeed something to be cherished. I begin this with a short prayer which basically says, Asadoma Satgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Lead us from untruth to the truth. Lead us from darkness to light. Lead us from death to immortality. 6,000-year-old prayer in Sanskrit from the Vedas. In its simplicity lies a deep message. Our life is a journey, continuous journey from darkness on to light, so to speak. The whole purpose of education is in itself about bringing light into our lives. The challenges that we face right now, especially for those of the graduating students, the world has changed at a tremendous pace. Not only has it changed, it has evolved. It is no more the world that your parents were born into, and certainly very far from the ones that your grandparents came into. It's a new world, a frontier, one that is going to be challenging. Everything that we have taken as a given has evolved. Occupations have changed. Economies have changed. We are in a world that is actually today more divided than united. When we began this journey, in 2008, this university was incorporated. That's already 11 years. 10 years prior to that, the QI group began its journey, which makes us 21 years old now. But it seems like a lifetime away. The world at the time that we began was one that had hopes, and the concept of a global village was one that was envisaged, and we looked forward to that with great anticipation. Instead of which, what has happened over the last 2 decades is the world has polarized. We are now looking more inwards than outwards, and this has somewhat changed the whole synergy and challenges that you will face as students when you go out into the world. However, having said that, I would just like to impart to you a few words that I think should remain in your hearts as you travel through the rest of your life. You're beginning a journey right now, and it's one that's going to twist and turn and go through myriads of challenges before you are even to the point where you could say that life has begun. But welcome these challenges. Embrace these challenges. If there is something at all that this university should impart to you, the gift of knowledge itself is part of the journey. It's only a singular part of the journey. Information becoming knowledge is what the university does. Going out there, taking that knowledge and making it into wisdom is what experience does. Which means that you're going to fall. Which means that you're going to fail. Now, this is not something that we are going to be, or that you were looking forward to in a graduation or commencement address, but it's something that you need to take into account as a reality. Not only are you going to fall, not only are you going to fail, you're going to basically hit into disappointment. You're going to hit despair. And this is going to happen on a continuous basis. The trick is simply to recognize that that is part of the journey. It's not a dead end. It's not a deadlock. Facing disappointment is simply part of the journey. It's another step on our progression. It needs to happen. As a matter of fact, to be instantly successful could probably be the worst thing that happens to you. What you want right now is to develop, to grow, to evolve, to reach your full potential, to become the person that you were actually placed on this planet to be. And in order to do that, you're going to have to fall and then get up again. Fall and then get up again. Repeatedly fall and then get up again. Now, what you have to remember is simply that. If there is 3 words that this address of mine leaves in your minds and hearts, so much so that you carry it forward for the rest of your lives, it's simply these words: get up again. Because you will inevitably fall. But falling is the price that you pay for growth. There is no great footballer out there or great tennis player or sportsman out there who can claim to you that they are the world's number one, be it Roger Federer, be it Lionel Messi, be it Tiger Woods. They can never claim to be the world's number one until they have fallen and failed many, many, many times. And that is what life is all about. Life is about getting past that. The one thing that our parents have tried to do, and your parents, I'm sure, are no exception, they have tried to give you the best of what they never got. They tried to essentially, at great sacrifice to themselves, provide you a life, provide you education, provide you a path that they perhaps never got. And this has come at great cost to them. But what is actually more important, the learning that you need to actually try to derive from them is not about providing you with what they never got, but instead provide you with what they actually got from their parents, which was, in essence, the wisdom of their lives. They tried to shield you from the hard knocks, shield you from the pain, the despair, the challenges, and this actually makes us weaker, not stronger. The only gift that they can give you is give you what they received from their parents. Because Malaysia is a history of people who survived despite the odds. Ipoh is a place of history of people who survived despite the odds. People came here as a frontier. New industries began here. Malaysia was shaped here in this heartland, in the Kinta Valley. And it was done because of the sheer determination, dedication, and devotion of the people who came. They were patient, they were perseverant, and they were persistent. In other words, they never gave up. Now that's a gift. If your parents pass that on to you, which simply says, son or daughter, child, never give up. Now that is something you take to your heart. Because there is only one true success to succeeding out there in the real world. Because you are stepping out into the real world right now. Are you with me? This is the real world out there. And the real world, your parents are not going to be there to hold your hands. Your teachers are not going to be there to hold your hands. No one is actually effectively going to be there. It will be what we call an even playing field. In other words, you survive and evolve through merit. You get better at what you do. How do you get better at what you do if you do not fail, if you do not falter, if you do not fall? Therein lies the secret. Get up again. Get up again. And if you keep on doing that, getting up again, never being afraid of failure, never being afraid of falling down, never being afraid of disappointment, you have already begun life's journey. You begin every day with one message. That is gratitude. If you open your eyes this morning, you're better off than a million people who did not. You are blessed that you're able to open your eyes this morning and greet the world. That is the gift that the Lord has given you. You are able to be alive another day. Not to waste this gift is critically important. Hence, every day, in the words of Mahatma Gandhi, live every day as if it is your last, but plan for 100 years. There's a Chinese saying that I have always cherished and treasured. It is the mindset of individuals that make us into who we are. It's not your resume, it's not your degree, it's not your qualifications. The best marks that you carry right now will open doors for you somewhere. But besides opening a door, it's not going to carry you to the top. That journey is different. That journey requires you to have a mindset. So, when you reach a certain point in your career, which you will reach all eventually at some juncture, you will hit what is called a glass ceiling. Now, this glass ceiling means you can see through it, but you can't go through it. The primary reason is that's as far as your knowledge, skills, and experience can take you. So, if you have the best of your education, your knowledge, and skills, and experience, what else do you need to truly succeed? Because the glass ceiling can be permeated only by one thing. And this is separate from all the talent that you have, the skills that you have, separate from the knowledge that you bring. Then what is it that's going to make you successful? It's a simple thing that we call attitude. If you have the right attitude and you walk out of here with the right attitude, life will open up for you. And the glass ceiling will shatter. Therein lies the true path to success. The ancient Chinese saying that I'm going to basically refer to here says, again, I usually refer to Sun Tzu Ping Fa, which is the art of war of Sun Tzu. But today I picked up another saying that I think is very, very relevant for you. It simply goes, the life of a beggar goes from meal to meal. A mendicant or a beggar lives from meal to meal. A laborer or coolie lives from day to day. A farm worker or any kind of worker lives from week to week as to when he gets paid. A government or salaried worker lives from month to month, from his salary to the next salary. A landlord, a landowner lives from year to year. The mandarin lives from season to season. The farmer lives from season to season. But a king lives a decade at a time. But an emperor lives 100 years at a time. What does that mean? It means that a beggar can only plan for as long as his next meal. A worker plans till his next salary. Farmer plans till the next season. We all plan according to the budget that we have, depending on the income that we derive. But a king or an emperor, a king plans for the length of his lifetime. An emperor, he has to plan for his grandchildren. He plans for the legacy, the dynasty to continue. So the question you ask yourself is, how do you think? Do you think like a beggar, or are you starting to think like an emperor? So as you leave from here, carry that into your mind, into your attitude, into your mindset. Plan. Be prepared, however, for the plans to fail. Planning is not enough, unfortunately. There is another very old saying, English this time, simply goes, man proposes, God disposes. Which simply means that we do all the planning we like, but the master plan is something altogether different. And ultimately, our life moves across as per the master plan. But there are no flaws in the master plan. To be able to accept the master plan, to be able to take it at its best and keep on going, that is the survival. That's the trick to survival. That's the trick to success. So get up again. Every time you fail, you falter, you fall. Get up again. Never give in, never give up. You will never know where the road turns. Giving up just before success comes is sadly what history has taught us. Most of us do so. Some years ago, they began a process of cleaning up Mount Everest, the world's tallest mountain, highest mountain. And it was a very big venture where they actually went up there by helicopter and started clearing away camps that had been built there for the last 80 or 90 years, ever since man began to scale the mountain. In doing so, what they found was a very interesting and rather important fact. Almost 80 to about 90% of the people who had tried to climb the mountain and failed, and who had abandoned their camps and come down, had reached about nearly 80 or 90% of the ascent. They were just 10% from the peak. They just did not know how close they were. Because of the weather, the storms, the cold, the snow, the avalanches, they cannot see beyond a couple of feet at a time. So 80 to 90% of them had reached their goals almost, and then had given up and climbed all the way down, which by itself is another challenge. And they had given up because of only one thing. They had no idea how close they were to the top. And this is a reflection on all of us. This is a reflection on what you will face in life when you go out there. Giving up too soon. Giving up at the first sign of defeat. At the first sign of despair. This is a mentality, unfortunately, that we as a generation face. The generations before us had lives that were a lot harder, a lot tougher. Hence, they were tougher. So if there's one gift that you can carry moving forward, is to remember this. You will fall, get up again. If you fall, so what? Living for Other people's expectations of you is not the answer. The next challenge that we face as students, as you face as students, and something that unfortunately generation to generation is almost a viral disease, is simply peer pressure. The expectations of those around you, the people that do not really count. Paying attention to what they say should not be the guideline for your lives. Please bear this in mind. Those that talk the most about you care the least. And likewise, you need to take into your hearts the consideration that their thoughts don't count. Prove them wrong. Success is the greatest form of revenge. Are you with me? You want to show them that yes, you can. In the words of our current Prime Minister, during his previous regime, Malaysia boleh. I have always loved that, Malaysia boleh. As a Malaysian, it's something that I believe has stood in good stead for me. I came from a multiracial country. This is where I studied. This town is where that basically made me into who I am. I left these shores speaking 3 languages and perhaps another 2 more, simply because I was Malaysian. Nothing unusual for me. But almost wherever I went, that was looked upon as, wow, you can speak 3 languages. And it's a starting for us, because we come from a totally multicultural background, which makes us so much stronger. The world is a melting pot, and more so now than any other generation in the past. We are in a world of information. We are in a world where in a tap of a finger, you can access information from across the planet. You get it faster than anyone else. And in that mix of information is a lot of garbage. Being able to discern that garbage is critically important. To be able to reach true success, I will quote you again from another great epic called the Arthashastra, which is a Sanskrit epic written 1,000 years ago. Chanakya, someone like Sun Tzu, wrote this. And he talks about learning. Viveka, he says, is the first step of learning. Viveka is how we discern what we learn. So you went through Viveka during your secondary school, choosing where you wanted to study, what you wanted to study, and so on. Vichara is where you just went through right now. Completing this degree program is Vichara. Vichara is to do research, analysis, to study the subject matter that you want to practice. Are you with me? So you just completed Vichara, Viveka Vichara. The third stage is referred to as Neti. Neti is that process where you apply everything that you have, 110%, not 90, not 100, 110. Why 110? Because tomorrow you should be 10% better. So you always push yourself to 110. And in neti, neti in Sanskrit means neti, not this. Which simply means anything that's not related to your area of interest is not important. So you go through it like a tunnel vision. Not this, not this, not this. That is what I want. That is neti. It's a state of mind, it's an attitude, it's a mindset. It's the mindset of a warrior. You're stepping out into a battlefield. It is a battlefield. Life is a battlefield, which is why sometimes we call it Kurukshetra, where the battle of the Mahabharata was fought. You're stepping into it right now, Go in with the mindset of a warrior. Neti is total focus, total dedication. Apply it now, because now is the time that you are building the rest of your life. And then you come to the final stage, the fourth stage. It is simply called Vairagya. Vairagya has no direct translation into English. It simply means a state of being where perhaps the word charisma comes in, attitude comes in. So when you touch Vairagya, you are beyond Neti. And that is the point that you try, that you become truly successful. And this has nothing to do with what you have studied this far. All the book knowledge that you carry, everything your lecturers have imparted to you, everything within those 2 years of yours right now is not going to take you there. That journey begins from tomorrow. That journey begins when you give everything that you have and a little bit more every single day. That journey to Vairagya begins when you say, I will get up again. I will get up again. I will get up again. I leave you with a few words from the Upanishads. It's beautiful because it says everything that we need to understand. Simply put, it goes, Tumeva Madasa Pita Tumeva, which means, O Lord, you are my parents. You are my mother, you are my father, because you gave them to me. They were my first teachers. They were the ones who guided me until now. For them, I am always grateful. And even they represent you. Tumeva Bandusha Saha Tumeva. You are my friends and all my relations. The friends that you have in college, the ones that you encountered along the way, the ones that you met in school. Every single one of them is part of the master plan. And they too have helped evolve and develop the person that you are today. For that, I am grateful. Tumeva Vidya Dravidam Tumeva. O Lord, you are my studies, the knowledge that I have derived. You are the work that I am going to do. The work that I do, I offer as worship in your name. And finally, Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva, which means, O Lord, you are everything to me. Now, if you keep that in your hearts, you will never fail. Go out there, liberate yourselves, be joyful, have wonderful lives, and change this world as you see it. God bless you all.